Hey guys, welcome to my channel one more time. This is AJ Hard, and you probably remember him through one of my videos that came out last week. So we're gonna do another top 10. Today will be top 10 cartoon spin-offs. Yeah. So what I want to clarify is that this is not the top 10 worst spin-offs, but it's also not the top 10 best spin-offs. It's just the top 10 cartoon spin-offs. We'll do one for the best and one for the worst later. These are just the most known cartoon spin-offs. So let's get started. So number 10 we have Pinky and the Brain, and Pinky and the Brain was a spin-off from where, AJ?
It came from Animaniacs. Pinky and the Brain started as a cartoon in Animaniacs and then became a cartoon for itself.
Cool. Yeah, so Pinky and the Brain is the only part of Animaniacs other than the special guests that I remember from the Animaniacs. And I actually can recognize Pinky and the Brain. I know who they are. Don't know much more about their history or anything like that. So let's continue to number 9. Teen Titans Go. So Teen Titans Go is made by one company. You know the company, right? Cartoon Network.
Oh, yeah.
Cartoon Network makes Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go is not really much of a spinoff, more than a try to remake Teen Titans, but in a very kiddish way. I'm considering a spinoff because, one, it doesn't follow the plot of Teen Titans, and two, I prefer to look at it as a spinoff and less as an actual standing cartoon.
One of the worst spinoffs ever.
One of the worst spinoffs ever, yes. If you're a Teen Titan fan or a DC fan, you will see a few little Easter eggs in Teen Titans, and that's kind of fun, but it's Batman, yeah. When there's other stuff in the background, their paintings and the cave, there's a lot of stuff you see that's a lot of Easter eggs, but the story sucks and the characters suck. It's not a good spinoff. So number 8, Baby Looney Tunes and how do you say the next one?
Lunatics Unleashed.
Lunatics. I'm gonna say lunatics, but it's Lunatics Unleashed. So Baby Looney Tunes and Lunatics Unleashed was a spinoff from where, AJ?
Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes.
Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all the gang into two different sort of TV shows.
Yeah. So these two are not really the only spin-offs from the Looney Tunes. There's been a lot of spin-offs from Looney Tunes. These are just maybe the most remembered, I guess, because they were so different from Looney Tunes. Baby Looney Tunes, obviously, they were babies, so remember because they were babies and they were cute. And Lunatics was more of a action type of deal, so it was a bit more memorable. Definitely a lot more spin-offs for Looney Tunes. Number 7, I Am Weasel. Now, I Am Weasel came out of Cow and Chicken?
Yes, Cow and Chicken.
Cow and Chicken, okay, good. So, I Am Weasel is also one of those that was just a part, right?
Yeah,
just
part of the cartoon.
Part of a cartoon, and then it became its own series. So, you want to explain what I Am Weasel more in detail?
So, two friends, Weasel and Baboon, are getting into these situations. Weasel is really smart. Baboon is not that smart and gets jealous over Weasel because he gets more fame and fortune than he does.
Yeah, I Am Weasel. There you go. Number 6, Postcards from Buster. Now, Postcards from Buster is a memorable spinoff for me because I wasn't raised with cable or DirecTV or anything like that. So I had to watch PBS for the most part. And PBS had Arthur, which is part of our top 90s cartoon videos. And Postcards from Buster was a spinoff from Arthur, which was Buster was his best friend, and he went around the world documenting his trips with his dad. And he would send postcards to Arthur. And he would just kind of see what the people were like. You want to explain more in detail?
Yeah, it was basically teaching you about culture all around the world, such as Japan and a bunch of other places too. I don't know, but yeah, basically giving you information about what they do for fun and what kind of food they eat or how they run their days and stuff.
Yeah, I particularly didn't like the spinoff as much because it wasn't a cartoon spinoff. The first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes were cartoons, and then the rest were, you know, Buster with a camera walking around. So it was a more of a spinoff, less of a more documentary of kids. So number 5, the Cleveland Show. So the Cleveland Show, I believe, ran for about 2 or 3 years only and had only a few seasons, and spin off from the Family Guy, and not the Family Guy, it's just Family Guy. And I don't know why they decided to give Cleveland his own show. There's a lot better characters in Family Guy, and I don't think there's not much to say about Cleveland Show more than they tried their best, but it was, one, they portrayed the black people very racistly. I want to say that. And two, the stories weren't as good as Family Guy, so they really failed in that category. So number 4, Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah, Scooby Doo has a lot of spin-offs.
Scooby Doo does have a lot of spin-offs, and we're not gonna name one specific for Scooby Doo. At least for my opinion, and you can say your opinion later, AJ. But my opinion, Scooby Doo had one too many spin-offs, and the same thing. Really, once you face your fear a few times, you kind of get used to it. Scooby Doo and Shaggy never end up getting over their fear of monsters and stuff like that. For me, it got tiring to watch Scooby Doo. What do you think? Do you think they should still do spin-offs of Scooby Doo?
Well, not the recent one of what do they call it? Because that one is not that good. Mystery Incorporated was way better, but my favorite was Shaggy and Scooby Get a Clue. I never really got to watch it much, but my first review of it, I did kind of like it.
Okay. Everyone's to their own opinion. Number 3, the Powerpuff Girls, and there's two. Now, one, I wouldn't call it a spin-off. The Powerpuff Girls that's coming out right now in Cartoon Network. It's kind of that gray area like Teen Titans Go. It's not really a spin-off, but it's not really a remake because the story is different. So the Powerpuff Girls, which is on your right in your screen, is being remade or spinned off in Cartoon Network, and in my opinion, they've done a very poor job. Have you seen a few episodes? I've seen two at most, I think.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of episodes. It's more focused on the girls and how they live life, more than them going out and saving the day.
Yeah, they're less of superheroes, more of normal girls. Villains are not really important. You don't see as many villains as in Powerpuff Girls, the original one in the 90s. Now, Powerpuff Girls Z was a spin-off from Powerpuff Girls, and they try to make it into like an anime style. The problem is they tried too hard and they failed at it. I didn't like it so much. Did you like it?
I liked it a little bit. I mean, it was kind of more of a secret, hidden Powerpuff thing. I mean, they transformed. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. They weren't super power girls. Let's put it like this. They tried to put Dragon Ball Z with Powerpuff Girls Z. That's basically what it was. They had to transform to get their actual bigger powers.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. That bothered me a lot. So, number 2, talking about Dragon Ball, and before someone puts a comment, and before we get stoned, we understand perfectly that anime and cartoons are different things. That's why we have a segment called Cartoon Reviews and Anime Reviews. Two separate things. But in America, if you talk to a 4-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old who watches Dragon Ball, they're going to tell you it's a cartoon. That's just what happens. They don't know much of the difference. So we put it into our cartoon top 10 because I personally love Dragon Ball. And Dragon Ball came out afterwards with Dragon Ball Z, which was not really much of a spin-off, more of a sequel, and then Dragon Ball GT, and then Dragon Ball Super. Now, I consider it a spin-off, one, because the structure of the stories completely change. And if you've seen any of these 3 or 4, if you count now the new Super one, you can really now figure out how in everyone you reach a limit, and then there's a higher limit, and then there's a higher limit, so on and so forth. So every series really has a different structure to it, a different limit to it, and different villains. And yeah, sometimes they have the same people, but sometimes they don't. So I do consider it a spinoff, and I think they did a great job in all 4. So number 1, and this is probably going to be AJ's best one, and that's going to be Rugrats spinoffs. Now there's 2, and I didn't know there was 2. I thought there was only 1. I'll let AJ explain these 2.
So the first one was All Grown Up, which is basically all the Rugrat characters.
Yeah, I remember that one.
becoming teenagers and living and learning how to be a teenager. They had 2 animations for that. I kind of like the first one better than the next animation for it because it kind of got a little too bright for me. I don't know. But anyway, so then there was another one called Preschool Days, which was about Angelica and Susie going to preschool with their friend Harold, and of course Angelica has to be the show off. There was also another character that was on there who Angelica does not like. I forgot her name. So if you can find out what her name is, then comment below.
Yeah.
She's also in All Grown Up.
All Grown Up, yeah. I can remember who you're talking about. Yeah, but All Grown Up, they kind of tried it in Rugrats, the original Rugrats series. They did one episode of the babies kind of imagining how they would be in middle school. And I think the viewers liked it so much they made a spinoff, All Grown Up. It wasn't as great because people thought it was kind of cool and cute to see babies imagine stuff. It wasn't as good watching middle schoolers imagine stuff. So, All Grown Up didn't go as well, and Preschool Days obviously did not go so well. I mean, just looking at the picture, you can see why it didn't go so well. So, these were our top 10 cartoon spinoffs. What do you guys think? You guys agree with it? You guys don't? Leave a comment below. Give us a like. Maybe you think someone should watch this video. Share this video with them. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. Also, I'll leave in the notes below some of his information so you guys can also follow him and his social media stuff. And like always, guys, don't be strangers.